Paul Newman had a problem most people would dream of having. He created something that started making millions of dollars. And he didn't want the money, not because he was already rich, not because the business had failed. Quite the opposite. It became so successful that Newman faced an extraordinary question. What do you do with a fortune you never intended to make? His answer was almost unbelievable. Give it away. But stay until the end, because the most powerful part of this story isn't how much Paul Newman gave away. It's where some of that money eventually went, and why children facing the hardest battles of their lives came to know a completely different Paul Newman from the Hollywood legend the rest of the world knew. Because his greatest role may never have appeared on a movie screen. By the 1960s and 70s, Paul Newman was one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. Cool Hand Luke, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Sting. Audiences loved him. Hollywood paid him enormously well, and those famous blue eyes became almost as recognizable as his movies. Newman had everything required to build the perfect celebrity lifestyle. But fame never seemed to impress him as much as it impressed everyone else. And eventually, something completely ridiculous happened in his kitchen. Something that would become more valuable than anyone imagined. Salad dressing. Yes, salad dressing. Newman loved making his own dressing. Around Christmas, he and his friend, writer A.E. Hotchner, would bottle it and give it to friends. People loved it, so they wondered, could we actually sell this stuff? In 1982, Newman's Own was born. The idea was almost playful. They weren't building the next corporate empire. They were selling food with Paul Newman's face on the label. Then the bottles started disappearing from shelves. Money came in, more products followed, and suddenly this little experiment was generating serious profits. Most entrepreneurs would have asked, how big can we make this? Newman asked something else. Why should I keep the profits? And that's where the story becomes extraordinary. Newman and Hotchner decided that the profits from Newman's Own would go to charitable causes, not a tiny percentage for good publicity. The company's famous principle became 100% profits to help kids. As the business grew, so did the giving. Millions became tens of millions. Over the decades, Newman's Own has donated hundreds of millions of dollars to charitable organizations. Imagine that. Paul Newman's face was sitting on supermarket shelves, quietly generating money that would eventually support people he would never meet. But Newman wasn't finished, because writing checks wasn't enough. He wanted to create something himself, and this is where the story stops being about money. Newman had become involved with programs helping children with serious illnesses, and he noticed something. When a child is seriously ill, life can become dominated by things no childhood should revolve around. Hospitals, appointments, treatments, fear. Parents become caregivers, children become patients. But Newman wondered, what if, for just a little while, they could simply become kids again? That idea became the Hole in the Wall Gang Camp, founded in Connecticut in 1988. A place where children with serious illnesses could experience summer camp, swimming, fishing, games, friendships, laughter, adventure. And crucially, the medical support they needed was there too. But it wasn't supposed to feel like a hospital. It was supposed to feel like childhood. This is the part of Paul Newman that Hollywood could never manufacture. He visited the camp, spent time with the children, sat with families, and something beautiful happened. To many of those kids, the legendary actor wasn't the important part. Some barely knew his movies. He was simply Paul, a man hanging around camp, someone who had helped create a place where illness didn't get to be the most interesting thing about them. Newman once described seeing children regain confidence at camp as something extraordinary, and perhaps that's when the money finally had a purpose. A bottle of salad dressing had become a business. The business had created millions. The millions helped create moments where sick children could laugh, take risks and feel ordinary again. And suddenly, that ridiculous kitchen experiment didn't seem ridiculous at all. Remember the question from the beginning? Why would Paul Newman give away a fortune? Maybe because he understood something fame can make very easy to forget. Having more isn't necessarily the same as living more. He already had the houses, the success, the awards, the money. What he discovered was that wealth became far more interesting when it stopped belonging only to him, and his idea survived him. Paul Newman died in 2008, but Newman's Own continued. The charitable giving continued. The camp continued. Children kept arriving. Families kept finding a place where, for a few precious days, illness didn't have to control everything. That's the fortune Paul Newman actually left behind. Not the money he accumulated, the money he refused to keep. Hollywood made his face famous, but somewhere far away from the cameras, children were laughing because Paul Newman decided his success could belong to someone else. And perhaps that was his greatest role of all. If this story changed the way you see Paul Newman, stay with us. Because on See Beyond the Spotlight, we uncover the human story behind the people the world thinks it already knows. And tell us in the comments, who should we uncover next? Your suggestion could become one of our next documentaries. Come back for the next hidden story. Because sometimes a person's greatest achievement isn't what they leave for themselves, it's what they leave for everyone else. Every legend has a story. We uncover the one the world rarely sees.